Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing a little bit of Standard, and it's going to be a similar deck to our Super Singleton list, actually. We're going to be playing around with a Bant Midrange list, but this time it's more of a life gain theme, with things like Griffin Aerie taking the lead on this one. 2 mana for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 White Griffin creature token with flying. So, similar to the old Armenket cycling Drake. I can't remember what it's called now. Drakehaven, I think it was something like that. It was a 3 mana. When you cycle, you can pay 2 and make a Drake. This one's in a similar sense, but it has been unplayable for the longest time since your boy 3 Fairy can just upset things. So, you know, now that enchantments can come down and stay down, this is actually, hopefully, going to provide a little bit of wonderful value. So, going to be building around this kind of thing. A gain 3 kind of card is really what we're looking for. So there's a fair few things in here that are definitely going to be doing that for us and are very obvious inclusions. The big one, going to be the card that's probably getting banned next. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wraths. 3 mana 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it escaped. And then when it enters the battlefield, it does 9 different things. It gains you 3 life. It draws you 3 cards. Draws you a card. Wouldn't surprise me if it drew 3 cards, to be honest. But then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. We are running 27 lands to make sure that we can make our land drops all the way up. And we also have cultivates as well, just to make sure we ramp, because we are a little bit heavy on the 5 drops in this deck. We've got Elder Gargaroth, which has a gain 3 attached to it. But if we don't want to use that, we can just make a beast creature token. So we can either make a 2/2 flyer or a beast, or we can draw a card. This thing's got, again, it's one of those cards that I've really wanted to play with, because it's like bad Thragtusk. And yeah, it just gets bounced by 3 Fairy, which makes it completely unplayable. However, now that 3 Fairy's gone, it's a 5 mana 6/6 with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. So we're going to see some fun stuff hopefully happening with that. We've also got 3 copies of Elspeth Conquers Death, just to take care of all the big boys that our opponents might be playing. And, you know, we can reanimate an Elder Gargaroth or something nice like that, if it should come to it. We do have 3 copies of Hydroid Krasis. This is kind of our card advantage late game thing, because we've got lots of cards, lots of lands, sorry, so we want to be drawing lots of cards with this. Ideally, and if we gain 3 life, again, we trigger the Griffin Aerie. We also have Jolrael as 2 copies in here. Might not be the place for Jolrael, but I figured that there's actually a lot of cards in our deck that draw us a card, so whenever we draw our second card each turn, we make a 2/2 cat green creature token, which is kind of cool with the Griffin Aerie side of things. And if we've got lots of cards in our hand, maybe after a big Hydroid Krasis, we can activate for 6 to make our creatures have base, power, and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in our hand. We do have Elite Guard Mage in here. Enters the battlefield, gain 3, draw a card. So again, we can power up the Jolrael in many different ways. We can gain 3 life to trigger the Griffin Aerie. So there's a lot of stuff to do here. Also have Ajani the Greathearted as a one of in here. I just want to try him out. I want to see what he can do. I feel like if we're making this many tokens, and his Tick Up actually has a gain 3 attached to it, I feel like he's got a home in here, but I didn't want to go too crazy on the copies, so I'm just going to go for a one of, and if we find him, pretty cool. If we don't, then, you know, no harm done. The -2, though, does allow us to benefit from the Go Wide strategy, putting a counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker you control. I did originally have Theros Elspeth in here as well, but I figured that we're probably going to be eating the graveyard with her most of the time, so she's not really going to get her time to shine. I don't think her making 2 tokens and then giving flying to some griffins is going to make a big difference. I mean, that was originally why I put her in there. I figured some 2/2s getting some benefits. If I'll show you Elspeth instead of just telling you about her. I figured that the -1 to give the +2/+1 would be nice on the griffins, but ideally, I think the reason you play her is because you actually have the ability to escape her multiple times, and with her around, that's probably just not going to happen. And yeah, finally, we've got a copy of Scavenging Ooze, just in case our opponent's got some Uros as well. We can find additional copies with our Bond of Flourishing, which is a look at the top 3 for a permanent, put it into your hand, and gain 3 life, so it's pretty cool. Synergizes quite nicely, finds the pieces we need, and we can dig for that Scavenging Ooze if our opponent does have something like Uro on the other side. And then we got Time Wipe as well. Not sure. I haven't played this deck yet, so whether or not Time Wipe is necessary is to be determined, but kind of pictured it in my mind when it's not going too well, you probably want to fire off this card, and, you know, we get to return a creature we control, so that could be a Hydroid Krasis to recast, or it could be just like an Elite Guard Mage or something like that. Either way, we've kind of got that rebuild value with our Griffin Aeries and our Jolrael, so I figured a wipe wouldn't be too bad, so, you know, put 2 copies in there and see what we could do. 27 lands, as I mentioned. We've got all the fountains, the temples, the breeding pools, and the fabled passages, just to make sure we get all of our basics. Slightly skewed a little bit more into green for obvious reasons, because we're kind of a little bit rampy. But mostly I would say we're base Simic with a white splash. It's kind of hard to tell, but, you know, 3 islands, 3 plains to make up for the rest of the deck anyway. And yeah, shouldn't have any mana problems, hopefully. Maybe a little bit of a flood, but, you know, we'll see. Anyway, if you're enjoying the content, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get testing this weird build. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in, and this is an awkward looking hand. I'm gonna keep it though, but it's very awkward. It doesn't particularly do much, but breeding pool tapped, we'll see what we can do. I mean, if we draw a white sauce off the top, then Griffin Aerie can come down, I suppose, but... oh dear, really mono red? Really mono red? Alright, well. I'm gonna pay 2 life. Probably just gonna get shocked, but, you know. If we were going to lose 2 life anyway, we might as well lose it to a Jolrael. So we do have a lot of life gain in the deck. So I'm kind of hoping that, you know, we can get some value there. 5 cards to my 5 cards, so we're just going to take 2 here. Can open that up, and that's an oof from me, dog. Alright, well, all in, really. Let's go for a white sauce, and to be honest, just another white sauce. We probably want Elspeth Conquers Death going. So, pass the turn. And I think we're just slapping down an Elder Gargaroth as a 6/6 that can gain us some life, maybe. It's hard to tell. At the very least, we're keeping their 1/1s away, so, you know, we're not taking too much damage as it stands. Alright, so can't block that, unfortunately, because it's only creatures with Defender. So we go down to 10. And light up the stage for our opponent. So it seems like it's old school kind of mono red. I actually could take the time wipe here and wouldn't be too upset with that. Leave them with 3 cards, and from there they just go land, Scorch Spitter. They could drop down a fair bit more, I suppose. Alternatively, I can make a 3/3 Hydroid Krasis that draws me a card and makes a 2/2. It's also not the worst. I think I'm getting in. And I'm debating whether or not I die from my like an Embercleave. It doesn't seem like the Embercleave style of mono red, but I don't know if I can take that chance. So I'm just going to blow up these 3 creatures and bring mine back. And then hope something like an Elder Gargaroth is just going to be good enough. Well, there's an Anax, so timing probably could not have been better. And again, we probably want to just deal with Anax. So let's do that. Exile removal for him. Could we get a creature in the yard to reanimate with Elspeth? That would be nice. Kind of guarantees that Elder Gargaroth's at least going to stick around in some capacity, right? Light up the stage for our opponent. It's a shock and a fervent champion. It's getting us real close to the ground there. We are going to be giving, like, you know, a cost tax though with the Chapter 2, so they might want to think about firing off that shock now. Ooh, an Uro. That's actually really really useful. So yeah, we're going to get shocked before the thing comes through. So we could do Jolriel into Uro, maybe gain 3, make a 2-2. Reanimate Uro, gain 3 to trigger the Griffin Aerie. I think that's okay. This way we actually have a chapter 3 active for the Elspeth Conquers Death, so we can get that little bit of extra value. Go to 9. Get a land, which is nice. It's a shame we weren't a little bit more up on mana, but I'll take it. So now we're just going to block to not die here. And then we can go double Griffin Aerie, maybe. So let's make absolutely certain we're not dead. As best we can, anyway. Steamkin's just going to do Steamkin things after all. Alright, so we're just going to block here, and we're going to block here, and then they're going to Embereth. But I can't afford to go much lower. So we're just going to try and stabilize with an Aerie into maybe a Hydroid Crisis. Going to 6. Alright, ECD. I think we are just reanimating Uro here, rather than Jolrael. Then again, if we went with Jolrael, we've got 2 mana, 3 mana left over after the Griffin Aerie. It's not enough to do a Hydroid Crisis to trigger. I think we've just got to go Uro. Doesn't matter. It's going to die anyway. Ooh, another ECD. Okay, so can I use this life total? We're going to go Griffin Aerie, and then we've got nothing to do. So this goes into play tapped. We go double Aerie, and we make 2 2/2s. And pass the turn. So we got decent blockers. And then we can do a big Hydroid Crisis. Which if we get another land, we can do it so we gain 3, which is kind of nice. Ooh, Torbran. I'm going to have to ECD that when I get the chance. We're definitely blocking. We've got no choice now. So block and block. Something to gain 3 would be nice, I guess. That allows me to play Uro. Actually, that allows me to play Hydroid Crisis, right? Is that better? Let's grab an island. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we do this X6. Gaining 3. We get ourselves a 6/6, which is pretty decent, and 2 Griffins. Do a little bit of refueling. Guard Mage is solid. It's a shame we can't get rid of the Torbran, but I think with the amount of blockers we've got, we should be relatively safe. Gotta make sure to do combat math on like Ember Cleaves and things like that, though. So I think like Hydroid Crisis, regardless of whether it might die, has probably got to go straight in front of the runaway Steamkin. And then we've probably got a chump block again. We do get 2 2/2s next turn anyway, because we've got the Elite Guard Mage into Elspeth Conquers Death on Torbran. We're in that really nice sweet spot, actually, where we're suddenly finding 2 card plays every turn that get us quite a lot of value. And our opponent needs to be ending this game like in the next turn or 2. Interesting, they've got an Anax. That might need ECDing more than Torbran does, to be honest. And they pass. Yeah, I think that needs ECDing more than Torbran, because that getting double strike and trample's worse than Runaway Steamkin getting it. So, ECD. take care of Anax so that any creatures that they throw under the bus don't turn into satyrs. Should be less than ideal for us. And we could actually just play Uro here. We absolutely should. It's much better than Guard Mage. So let's just get rid... but if we do that, Elspeth Conquers Death doesn't get Jol Rail. I guess we could wait. Yeah, I guess we could wait. We're in a really solid position anyway. Bond of Flourishing triggers the Griffin's next turn as well, so we're going to have 5 blockers. I think it's safe enough to get in with the Hydroid Crisis. We do have to actually close this game out at some point. And being at 15, I think, is a good enough point to do that. Sorry if you can hear any noises outside, by the way. My window is open because I currently live outside of Bowser's Castle. So, you know, it's hot. You know, when this game started, when I had 3 breeding pools, I really didn't see myself winning this one all that much. But the longer this one's gone on, the more it seems likely. Okay, so we're going to assume that they've got Ember Cleave. I mean, are we just chump blocking? Because they do have a very good attack here anyway. They've got Embereth as well, so... Guard Mage block here kind of forces them to use it. And go here. Actually, no, it doesn't, because the Torbrand's doing its thing. 3, 4, 8. I think we can double block Torbrand here. Take 5 on the Runaway Steamkin. If they Embercleave the Steamkin here, that's 5. I think 8. I think we're okay. We can gain so much life and rebuild as well, so... It's like we can do Bond of Flourishing to fill the graveyard for Uro. Get Uro out. I think they've just got Embereth. I think this just looks like old school mono red. Or are they not here? This, yeah, as this game went on, it's kind of a little more obvious than it might be like a bad matchup for mono red. The life gain deck, you know, kind of speaks for itself, really. I'll make a cut, because I don't know if our opponent's actually like Sultai, or if the game's just crashed, so we'll be right back. Alright, well, it appears that our opponent is not coming back, but I think we had this one in the bag anyway, so, you know, it's up to interpretation as to whether our opponent left or got kicked by the game. It could be either way, to be fair. Arena's not exactly the most stable of clients after all, but we were winning that one. I'm pretty sure of it. It's like if they didn't have the Ember Cleave there, which made things awkward, would put us to a low life total. I still don't think it actually beats us, because we do... Elspeth gives them a little bit of tax, which, you know, they've drawn fair too many lands for that to matter. We go Uro up to 3 again, we make 2 more Griffins, we've got Bond of Flourishing to find whatever we want, and then I'm sure we could probably... Yeah, we could probably do something else off of that Bond, look for a 3 or 4 drop to play down, maybe another Guard Mage perhaps, and gain all the life, and, you know, after that, it's probably no coming back from it, and, you know, we win. But yeah, anyway, on to the next game. Okay then, we're in, and we do have Uro for turn 3, which can get us to our early turn 5s. It's a little slow, but it's a keepable hand nonetheless. And Overgrown Tomb, alright, well, hopefully our opponent's playing some big stuff so that we can ECD them, and hopefully they don't kill our Gargoth, because if they do that, we've got nothing. So yeah, Breeding Pool, go. And let's see, Elysian Caryatid. Well, that would imply Big Boys a-ho. Okay, well, let's do Bond of Flourishing. Should we just get the 3rd Elspeth Conquers Death? Or do we want the land? We might technically want the land. But we are drawing a lot of cards. I'm just going to take the actual playable, I think. Though I have to be very careful, because the Fable Passage is obviously going to get me a white source, but without that we can't actually play our other ECDs. We'll see how we do. So this is probably going to be something like, yeah, Sultai with the wonderful casualties of war that we know and love. But Poly K is hopefully out of the picture. We'll go Fable Passage here. And pass the turn. So now we just start spamming 5-drops until we win, I guess. Not seen Polukranos in quite some time. He's been bad for a little while, but, you know, now's the time for him to be good, I guess. Again, like, 3 Fairy's been keeping him in check. Alright, we really want a time wipe. This is actually quite insane. Props to you, opponent. I like your deck. Now I'm having to answer creatures on board that will get replaced by the Great Henge, which is not a good sign. Zagoth Triome. Okay, it's a shame we don't have a Triome that's Bant, but here we are. Alright, so Fable Passage, crack it for a Plains. And, yep, okay. Pretty much just going to be spamming ECDs until the board looks clear, I think. So, ECD number 1. I actually wonder if we get rid of Polukranos or the Great Henge first, because Rotting Regisaur is going to be discarding them cards. Let's see. Taking 15 by going after the Great Henge, is that a wise idea? Probably not. I'll go after Poly K. I want them to discard cards, so hopefully it's actually relevant. And then when they're out of cards, or at least they've discarded some value that the Great Henge just gave them, maybe we're okay. I don't know if that's correct. We'll see. Double Rotting Regisaur. Oh boy. But every time ECD Chapter 3s, we do get an Uro trigger, so we gain a little bit of life as well. It would just be nice to have a creature that can block at least some of this damage. Or a time wipe. We can be digging towards that as well. That'd be nice. Harbinger, okay. Sweet deck from our opponent. Sultai Monsters. We're actually just dead, aren't we? Huh. We're actually just dead. So we can play Elite Guard Mage. You can block here. We go up to 15. And then we take 18. Huh. Let's see what we would have drawn. Well, Bond of Flourishing cannot find us a time wipe, and it wasn't there anyway, so just grab an Uro. What a weird little game. I like it. If I was going to lose to anything, it's something that looks like this. Sultai Monsters. Never seen this list before. I don't know if I hope to see it again. After I just got amazingly trounced. But here we are. Yeah, Time Wipe would have won us that game, but without it, mono 5-drops, not so much. When they've got 3-drops that are bigger than my 5-drops and also draw them cards. Bit hard to beat that, but, you know, is what it is. Next game. Okay, we're in. We have turn 2 Griffin Aerie, and then we can build a hand with Bond of Flourishing while also enabling the Aerie. So I think I'm going to keep this one. So I think we have to go Fable Passage for a forest first, and then we have to shock ourselves for the Aerie at this point. Because I do not want to take the risk of not drawing a green source. So let's go get that now. I'd like to cast it as soon as possible. Scorched Spitter for our opponent. Okay, so taking a little bit of damage, but for the Griffin Aerie, I think it is worth it. Going to be gaining it back with the Bond of Flourishings, making our land drops hopefully every single turn, and Working our way up to our 5 drops. We've played mono red before, and we did pretty well. Can we do it again? Alright, down to 15. And our opponent passes the turn, so let's go Bond of Flourishing. We might end up going Temple Garden tapped. Probably will, to be honest. Elspeth Conquers Death. We will need that for Anax and Torbran. And we certainly don't need the land, so let's grab that. Gain the 3, so we have a 2-2 to block, or to take a shock out of our opponent's hand. Either way works for us. And we slowly work our way up to our 5 drops. I actually considered for this list... Yeah, there's the shock. I actually considered that for this list a single Tolsimir as well for a matchup quite like this, where you could get 2 3/3s down on board, gain the 3 life, which goes very well with the Griffin Aerie as well. Our opponent just hard casts Bone Crusher Giant. Fair enough. Let's see. So, Bond of Flourishing. Yep, the mana tap's just fine there. There's an Ajani the Great-Hearted, so this is an argument against Ajani, because it's not a very good turn for him here. I guess I'm just taking the Hydroid Krasis, to be honest. And let's go Plains. I think we're going again. And we just want to gain the life. Oh, Griffin Aerie. And an Elder Gargaroth. I think Elder Gargaroth's probably what we want, right? Let's drop that big boy down next turn. Maybe. So we either go with the ECD or the Elder Gargaroth, depending on whether our opponent has, like, Anax here. So, preferably we don't see an Embereth from our opponent, because that'll mean that their champion can freely swing in. Opponent has had enough. I think they realise that my entire turn is bam, 5-drop, bam, 5-drop, bam, Hydroid Chris is maxed out. Just keep on going, and that value is just not enough, apparently. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So, yeah, this seems like a pretty decent mid-range to kill mono red, at least, so that's nice. We do have a pack to open, I think, so might as well open it on the video, right? You guys have been good luck when it comes to pack opening, so this is where I get my mythic. You ready? You ready? My M21 mythic. Show it to me. Okay. I do want to play around with Obsessive Stitcher at some point, but I feel like most of the good cards have been... good reanimated cards have been banned now. Demonic Embrace is actually a good card. It's not mythic, though. Chat, you let me down. Sorry. I'm sorry you let me down. But, yeah, let's go for one more game. Okay, we're in. We have a hand. I think it's keepable. There's a lot of good cards we can get here that trigger Jolrael, and later down the line, if we get to Guard Mage, then would be good as well. So we really want to see, like, you know, early game Griffin Aerie is actually pretty good. It's probably a little bit better than Jolrael, though they essentially do roughly the same thing, but our opponent might be playing some sort of flyers list, so getting down an Aerie right now where, you know, cast trigger life gain might be relevant. And things like Guard Mage are going to be what we want to resolve. Mischievous Chimera. When you cast your first spell each turn, deals 1 damage to each opponent's scry. Fair enough. Alright, play Jolrael, play a land, and we just see what happens here. Like, if we manage to get a Guard Mage down while all of this is happening, pretty good, but it looks like is it tempo, so... There is a chance that our cards will not be resolving for very long. Honestly, I'm fine with them doing a big tap here to kill the Jolrael. Is it on each turn or each opponent's turn? So they're incentivized to actually play on my own. But they tap out. That could be very bad for them. Especially if I draw a land next turn for that reaching Gargaroth. That would be golden. Alright, so we're going to go with the Guard Mage here. We take a little bit of damage, but we gain far more. And we get 2-3 and a 2-2. To block what our opponent's doing here. Yeah, it's Is It Tempo that just went horribly wrong. It wouldn't surprise me if they scoop right here, to be honest. I don't necessarily think that going straight into the kill Jolrael before anything happened plan was a good idea. Time Wipe is a very good card for us as well. I think we'd have preferred a land, but, you know. They are trying to build a board and then maintain it, so by blowing it up, we kind of help ourselves a little bit there. So yeah, this thing doesn't do anything else, right? Nope. Doesn't get bigger. Doesn't get more impressive. We would love a plains, because if we get a plains, we can drop down the ECD, which right now doesn't exactly do anything, but I can target maybe the Bone Crusher Giant that they're gonna play right here. Yeah. Ooh, Bond of Flourishing. Okay. Well, that gets us a land and a Griffin and some life total, which is nice. Let's just go with the Fable Passage, I think. Just want to thin the deck, right? It's not really thinning. These two are going to go to the bottom, and then we're going to shuffle them back in. But I still think we will want to do that, because I don't want to shock myself on the Temple Garden, and I would like a Plains, so... Crack that, grab a Plains. Do it now, because I don't care. Alright. And then pass the turn. Make another 2-2. Opponent opts and pings us down to our starting life total. God, I love this deck. This deck's sweet. It may not be very good, but it's very sweet. I would assume that they're supposed to be countering my spells, but it's just not going very well for them. I will double block Bone Crusher Giant, for sure. Or should I triple block Bone Crusher Giant? Because this looks like a setup for a shock. I think I'll make them do something here. There you go. So if we went for a double block here, then they definitely use a burn spell to keep their Bone Crusher alive and blow us out. But if we go for the triple block, it means they're going to have to do a little bit more work. And in fact, something like that will happen. And that's perfectly fine, because if you really think about it, we didn't really pay for any of those cards that we just gained there, or we just lost. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think we're going with another Guard Mage. I don't think we're swinging. I think we're just going to go Guard Mage. It's probably going to get ionized. Or Lofty Denialed. Yeah. Which is fine. Gargaroth is really the card we want to resolve. We can also now get that back with ECD as well, because Jolrael's not going to do us a great deal of good. We did lose our Bone Crusher Giant ECD target, but... they'll probably give us another one, right? What are you eyeing up your cards for? What could that mean? Shocks. Into Terramanda. Alright. Well, I think we're going Gargy Boy and probably getting ionized again, which is fine. I want to hold the Hydrocrisis until I can do it for... 3 life. Just for that extra greed value. It's got reach. They might have a Brazen Borrower, maybe? So this is also when it blocks. Just had to check. But Griffin Aerie is only on our turn, so... the gain life on the Elder Gargaroth is likely to be not what we go for. It's probably... I don't know, actually. Is it draw a card, or is it make a beast? Both are pretty good, to be honest. And I guess with our Hydroid Crisis, drawing a card for the land might be kind of nice. Okay, well, pass the turn. It's a cool deck from our opponent. I think Mischievous Chimera is not exactly where you want to be, but cool deck. So now we have X5 Hydroid Crisis. I think I'm just going to offer up my Gargaroth. And we'll gain 3, so we trigger the Aerie. Yep. I'll take Terramander out. So they are tapped out now. So now we could go for an X5 Hydrocrisis, or we could just go for the ECD, which sets up Gargaroth coming back in 3 turns, which I think is also pretty good. Also, the tax on the Chapter 2 is very solid as well. So I'm pretty happy with a lot of the stuff here. We could have even gone for the time wipe, honestly, and bounced our guard mage and killed their creatures. That might have actually been better. I think all of the moves are just equally correct. I think all of them will just cripple our opponent over time. You sure you want to do that? That would tap them out and make my next play completely guaranteed to resolve. Ooh, an Uro. Nice. Okay, well that's probably what we're going with. Opponent's got a 2 mana tax on all of their spells. They still could have Lofty Denial here, but I can pay for it. But now I get to gain 3 life. Put a Fable Passage into play, which is cool. Big Hydroid Crisis incoming. As well as a 7/7 Gargaroth as well. All for that. We will grab... I guess a forest. I don't think it matters, to be honest. I mean, no rush to win. But I suppose we can get in with a Griffin here. Get on in. Probably don't get blocked. Yep. We'll just make another one. My life total's so high right now, even if they swang back, I wouldn't care. Sea Dasher Octopus. Okay. So this has to deal damage to a player, so they have to get through my Griffin token and my Elite Guard Mage in order to make that work. And what's it actually going on? Or are they just flashing it in? They're just flashing it in? Are you crazy? My goodness. I thought they were going to stick it on the Terramander and then adapt it. Yeah, I've got a 7/7 Gargi coming towards you. Yeah, I'll trade. Alright, so what they're doing here is they're forcing themselves to tap out, which is perfectly fine by me. Yeah, you can tap out. Tap out for a 2/2. Alright, this is where we win. This is where I build my church. Alright, so Temple Garden, we can shock it, it's fine. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boop. Those are good cards. That's a good reaction to that situation. I think I'd scoop there too. Alright, well. Not the most top tier, you know, sample size, but I don't care. So, you know, I had fun with this deck, and if you guys want to play it, I'm sure you guys will have fun too. It's certainly at least good enough in silver. But yeah, I might play with this one a little bit and see what I can do with it. It's certainly not optimized. I don't know if Ajani the Great Heart is definitely what you want here, and, you know, didn't really see much use for a Scavenging Ooze there, though obviously Uro decks are kind of around. But yeah, it was a fun deck to play around with anyway. Finally got a chance to do Griffin, Aerie, and Gargaroth things, which is just... It's been on my bucket list ever since they actually got printed. And has been basically, you know, my hopes have been dashed up until the point where Teferi got banned. So, getting to play with him, it's very nice. I like it. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. And if you have, make sure to hit that like button. Really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We play jank like this every single day and off the beaten path, unmeta decks and things like that, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, we have a lot of fun anyway, so if you want to have a lot of fun and you enjoyed today's video, hit the subscription button, hit the bell while you're at it as well, and you'll get notifications when new videos go live on the channel. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.